It's 2021. Welcome to the new 21 Report. I'm here with John Anthony of John Anthony Lifestyle. John Anthony, how you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Tell us about your experience at 21. It's your first time here.
Yep. So I've been kind of keeping my eye on the pulse as this is the longest running Manosphere event. I've actually wanted to speak here for a long time. I just didn't have a lot of the networking connections that I've made in the past year or two in order to get here. But I guess Anthony Johnson's been kind of watching my stuff for about 4 or 5 years. There's a local Orlando guy named Xavier that I gave kind of a layered talk to the Orlando guys, and he's a big fan of my stuff. And finally I was asked to speak, so glad to be here.
Tell us about what you do.
So my main job, I'm officially a dating coach. When people ask, what is your job? Or, when I tell them the real story, I say it's kind of like the movie Hitch, but that's not really, that's more Hollywoodized, right? Most of my clients I've been coaching this for over 10 years. Most of my clients, they want to just get a lot more girls. Guys want to be having a lot more options, having a lot more sex. It's not all about, finding the dream girl, although that comes later. So they want to have a whole bunch of options and then be able to have their pick from a bunch of girls rather than kind of taking whatever comes their way or not having many options of high quality women. So I teach them how to build up their online profiles, approach girls in bars and clubs, approach girls during the daytime, how to text, how to run their dates, what to do when they bring the girl home from the date, and how to keep the girl around. So there's a whole kind of strategic and tactical element to all this. I look at this the same way as I look at poker and chess. It's a strategy and skill game that can be learned fairly quickly when you're plugged into the right system.
Mm-hmm. So give me your background. In other words, how did you get into this and why?
Yep. So I come from a very nerdy background. I was like probably the shyest kid out of 700 people in high school. I was playing the violin. I was in math league, taking a lot of advanced placement classes, playing wireless chess before wireless technology was out yet. We were using these special devices. Pretty hardcore nerdy stuff. And I ended up studying computer science in college, and I was going to originally be a programmer. I ended up going on and doing a second bachelor's in philosophy. And then I kind of went the cognitive science route, did a master's in human-computer interaction, another master's of philosophy of cognitive science. I had this big kind of analytical knack of, computer science was solving problems through formal algorithmic code, philosophy through informal discourse and deductive reasoning, and then cognitive science was kind of providing empirical support for rational philosophical positions. After college, I went on to do work for Lockheed Martin for 5 years, working on ballistic missile defense, kind of systems engineering work to optimize speed of response time and accuracy of response against nuclear, biological, and chemical threats. And it was around this period of time when I was doing the defense work that one of my kind of really nerdy friends from high school, he read the book The Game, which is how a lot of us got into this community. And I thought it sounded like a scam. And so I refused to read it for about 2 years. And he kept saying, no, dude, like there's a real method to the madness here. And The Game wasn't, much of a tactical manual. It was more just kind of a lay of the land of the pick-up artist community. There was some strategy. But then he went and read Mystery Method. And he was like, dude, this is even more methodical and tactical. And he kept pushing. And I finally was like, all right, I'll see what this is about. And that, as soon as I read those books and tried it out and saw it working, that kind of ignited a whole spark. I've been playing professional poker on the side. I was doing extensive day trading of stocks. And so this was right up my alley. This was another system and skill game to be optimized, but it had a much better reward than just winning a chess match or, winning a poker hand. Namely, having your pick of the best and hottest women. And so I looked back at my old blogs. I set out to become the best in the game and whatever it took to get there. Got this shirt here, never fucking give up. But it was just kind of a relentless optimization process. And I always show on my YouTube, it was an exponential progression. So it took about 10 years to hit the first 100 girls. That was about 100, 150 girls a year. Best year was 246. And obviously there's limits. There's temporal, it starts to interfere with your life if you're doing it too much. The best year was 246, and then it kind of leveled off a bit. At the time of recording here is 1,414. So it's definitely gone up there. And as it's grown higher and higher, guys have gotten more and more skeptical. I remember when I first hit 150 on the forums, everybody was very skeptical. I had a whole bunch of proof to back it up. But as it's gotten higher and higher, it sounds more like a made-up number, especially around the time I hit 1,000 girls towards the end of 2018. People say, oh yeah, 1,000 girls, isn't that convenient? But I've been reporting it for the whole past 10 years, and it's one of the only objective ways to track progression in the game. But I just leveraged all my analytical optimization kind of talents and applied them to the seduction game. So that's how I arrived here. That's kind of the unique angle I bring.
Okay, we hear that number of, you said 1,414?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you get to that number, and when that number is mentioned, I'm sure to a lot of men, I'm sure it triggers them.
Yeah.
And they do say, like you said, no way, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
What kind of proof do you have that that number is legit?
So I have a video that's over an hour long on my YouTube. It's called My Proof for Sleeping with Over 1,000 Girls. And I made that specifically to address skepticism that's rightfully so. So basically I show, I have thousands of pictures with girls, lots of them in hookup situations, because anyone can go and snap a picture of the girl. But lots of the pictures they're in their underwear, it's in a bedroom situation. And I'm not posting, naked stuff, but we blur their faces, but very clearly hookup situations. I recorded tons of the infield footage, the hidden camera infield footage. So I have over 100 start to finish infield pulls on camera. A lot of the top guys in the game, like Alex from Playing with Fire and some of these other guys, they've been in WhatsApp groups with me for years where I was kind of pasting every single new close, like a picture of the girl, the number update, this and that. I put 300 in a row on Instagram. But I've kind of been steadily reporting on the forums and across my YouTube channel over the past 10 years. And anyone that knows me knows that I take that number very seriously. It's not like it defines me or anything, but I take it seriously to the respect that if I were to take like a 9 home from the club and no one's there to witness if I banged her or not, and I just got a blowjob, for instance, the next day, hey man, how'd you bang the shot of her? No, it didn't close. Oh man, I would have closed her. No, I tried. She had this and that. And if I never end up sleeping with her, it never even reflects in the number. And so I only counted like full close new sexual partners. And it's stagnated a bunch because I moved a bunch of hot girls into the house in Brazil, and so I was mostly sleeping with them and the 14 regulars on the side, and wasn't doing a lot of new dates and stuff like that. So, but in that video we go through all the proof. There's all kinds of forum posts. There's lots of guys that have spent extended periods of time with me and seen me. Even at this conference here, I closed 3 new on the first day, and all these guys witnessed that. I went out to a club last night, took 2 Costa Rican girls out of the club. Everybody witnessed that, the guys that were there from the conference. So I'm able to perform even under pressure when people are watching. It makes me even perform better, actually, because I want to live up to what people think. In that video we detail all the different things, but basically it's just the pictures, the infield videos, the guys vouching for us, and then just people spending extended periods of time. And first time I went to visit Alex, there was like 8 or 9 new closes in that weekend. He witnessed all that personally. So. I think in this industry, it's one of the only major marks of credibility, and no one's really kind of went to the lengths I have in terms of tracking. And a lot of guys actually shy away from reporting that number. There's a lot of coaches that turns out they've only been with 8 girls, or maybe a lot of them are in the double digits, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's not coaching level. I get a lot of clients that are in the triple digits. I just had a guy that came to me at 300 leg count. So I look at that kind of as an objective measure of their experience in the game. And their general skill level, but you have to balance in their age, and a more accurate metric is how many girls they're closing per month and per year. What's the quality of those girls, and are they in any kind of easy modes countries? Like I've purposely avoided places like Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, just so people can't say, oh, he's padding his. And I took like a 2.5 week trip to Colombia, and everybody said, oh, your leg counts because you went to Colombia. I banged like 20 girls there, but. It's just a lot of guys, since I'm living in Brazil, a big common criticism is, oh, it's easy in Brazil. Anybody can bang 1,000 girls. But I actually arrived in Brazil already at 1179. That was all reported on my channel. So most of my closes are from the US.
So it's congruency. I mean, you're living the John Anthony lifestyle is what you're teaching. And I think that's a big deal in the Manosphere right now, because you are a voice against the frauds in the Manosphere.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to talk to you about now. So tell me about what you do and how you defend yourself and expose frauds in the Manosphere.
Yeah, so I take this game not like very seriously to the point of everything like in a formal way. It's more of I devoted my life to optimizing this for better or worse. I really enjoyed the process. It was a lot of fun research, so to speak. But when you have all these guys coming onto the scene, I very quickly can spot when I watch one of their videos or how they're carrying themselves that they're full of shit, or most of these guys show no receipts. They show 0 pictures with girls. I made a video about kind of the ugly girlfriends and wives of these coaches, and some people thought that was tasteless, but you wouldn't go for make money advice to a guy that's homeless and showing his bank account that's got $100 in it and say, hey, now listen to how I can tell you how to make money, because he's not living that life. So when I made that video about the girlfriends and the wives, a lot of those dating gurus, girlfriends and wives, are objectively below average looking, right? Where a lot of guys would rate them like a 3 or a 4, for instance. And it's not like that's the only worth the woman has, but if the guy is a world-class dating guru, he should have at least an above-average looking girl, right? So for me personally, over the past 10 years, I've had as a standard for any girlfriend or main girl on the rotation that she has to be above a 9 looks. And she also has to meet a whole bunch of other criteria internally. But at least as a minimum, looks-wise, she should be above a 9. And these guys can't do that. And a lot of them actively preach that hot girls aren't even worth dating, and they're all terrible, and it's because they can't get hot girls, and they actively get snubbed by those girls. And then so what's happening is you have the vast majority, I feel, of these coaches that are not real experts pushing systems that don't work, pushing a lot of abstract theoretical nonsense, and it's causing guys to waste endless amounts of time, effort, and money. And some of these whole movements are just extremely toxic and counterproductive. Like, for instance, like the red pill stuff, it's teaching guys to be hateful and resentful and confrontational towards women. I talk to these guys on the phone every week, and they say, hey man, like in the pickup world, they're trying to get a strategy to get the girls, but they're just kind of getting put on a hamster wheel. And a lot of these, unfortunately, a lot of these companies are just trying to extract as much money as possible. And so I've kind of dug behind the scenes with a lot of these operations, and I've exposed the fact that they're purposely trying to mislead guys and purposely overwhelm and confuse them so that they come back to that company for more solutions, in quotes, which is more confusion and more problems for the upsells and for the other new products. And so I'm a huge, coming from a very shy, introverted place, and I don't need the money in doing this coaching. I'm kind of on the side of all the little guys that are getting taken advantage of, because I was in their shoes. I was worse off than a lot of those guys, and I know the pain very, very real of what it's like to not be able to get girls and not think you have any kind of chance and that kind of stuff. And so when I talk to these guys on the phone, they're saying, hey, I went to the pickup strategy, it didn't help, because those guys just put them on the hamster wheel. Then they went to the red pill stuff, and now they're very confrontational and resentful against women. And then eventually they start blaming themselves. They turn to like the black pill stuff, and they say, hey, I'm not a model-looking guy, I'm not a Chad, therefore, there's no chance, and I can't get any of these girls. And I try to set the record straight that the vast majority of the equation is game. You should still, try to maximize your sexual market value. You should still work on what you bring to the table as a man. You should still work on your style and all this stuff, your hygiene. But you need to learn how to text. You need to learn how to do a cold approach, how to move things forward, how to carry yourself, this and that. And so I've uncovered at least like 50 different companies kind of being full of shit. I was one of the first guys to call out Fresh and Fit. They went from 0 subscribers to 400 something K in about 6 months. And I just saw right away, these guys don't know what they're talking about, dig behind the scenes. They're faking press releases, they're faking stats, and then kind of Aberrant Preach came along, a bigger channel, and started, putting a magnifying glass, and then the whole rest of the internet got behind them because they're a bigger channel. But I try to provide that with, not just with Fresh and Fit, but with all these other companies as well. And a lot of these companies say, oh, I'm worried about he's going to attack me. If they're not full of shit, I'm not going to attack them. I'm not just attacking guys. There's some misconceptions that I just do it to be a hater because I'm jealous or because they have bigger channels. But channel size doesn't correlate to the quality of the advice. A lot of the biggest channels, I know for a fact the guys are just full-blown scammers, or they don't have many real skills. They have very minimal skills in the game, but they have maybe almost 1 million subs in some cases. So yeah, kind of to address your point, I think the average guy that's looking for help in this gets roped into all these bad paths of companies that are just trying to take advantage of him, and he doesn't know any better. And it's hard to make sense. There's no quality control in terms of who has legitimate information. People just kind of assume that they know what they're talking about because they have a following and they have a channel. And I used to think like that too back in the beginning. I would read some of these internet marketer newsletters, and just by virtue of them acting like they know what they're talking about, you just assume it's, you just take them on their word. But when you kind of go behind the scenes, what ends up being the case is that the vast majority of the stuff is very bad. So the common guy is like really up against a lot of opposition. He doesn't know what to do, and when he goes to look for help, there's a whole bunch of people that are trying to screw him over. And I feel like not many guys are willing, I don't really know any other guys that are willing to call these guys out by name and kind of in a very aggressive way like I do. And I kind of go scorched earth for anybody watching that's seen my videos. I get pretty angry and riled up when I'm making them. I get pretty, making the points emphatically, swearing a lot and this and that, because it's a fucked up thing to be, perpetuating all this pain in guys, and in lots of cases making it worse. And these guys are wasting their lives away following these fake gurus. So I feel like there's so many more guys that need to be addressed, but it's, and my channel is only, I've only got about 30K subs, so it's just starting to scratch the surface. But Anthony Johnson's been reposting a lot of my more popular ones, and people are starting to realize that a lot of these heroes that they had are kind of full of hot air, but it's refreshing, because I see in the comments, guys will be saying like, "Hey man, you're really healing a lot of stuff, healing a lot of damage. I was really down on myself. I was suicidal. I was very depressed. I was ready to give up, and you're really like shining a lot of truth here." And my message is twofold. It's a lot of the guys that you're going to for advice, that's a big mistake, and they're not real experts. And by the way, there's a real system that you can learn very quickly, and you don't need months or years. You just need to be plugged into the optimized set of moves and set of mindsets and stuff like that, and the results will come in a matter of like a week or two.
So when you do this exposure, we'll call it, you're actually helping guys.
Yeah.
You're kind of pulling them out of that hamster.
Yeah, and I take a lot of backlash for it. I get death threats over email. I get false copyright strikes and different attacks on my channel. I've been down to like 2 strikes a few different times, where I've had to like kind of damage control in private a lot of the more controversial videos until the 90 days clears with the strikes. And so I'm risking my channel, risking lawsuits potentially. I'm trying not to ever say slander. I'm just basing stuff based on real facts. But these guys try to protect their scam operations, and so they'll come in, and what we've uncovered is people are just mass putting slander about me on Reddit, and their Modern Life Dating is an example where he went and made 3 2-hour-long videos with massive slander. So I have an active lawsuit against him for defamation. But I've taken hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damages to the business this year, just because of all the backlash that comes with taking these guys head on. And so that's kind of like the collateral damage of all this that I just have to kind of eat personally. And all when I attacked Fresh and Fit for about 6 months, everyone was saying, you're a hater, you're a fucking clout chaser, this and that. And then they all came back and said, oh, you were right. This video aged like fine wine. So people kind of changed their tune. But people are just going with mainstream opinion anyways. They're not listening to rational arguments too much. They just see, oh, this is entertaining and this and that, so I'm going to buy into that. But yeah, it's not an easy road to travel. And also I've made a lot of enemies and stuff like that. And a lot of these companies, they're pretty big operations, and I'm taking money out of their pockets. I've tried to organize class action lawsuits in some cases where these guys have really scammed on a massive scale, and still here.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I mean, you're persistent in what you do. So I want to go back now to 21.
Okay.
And ask you, again, it's your first time here.
Yep.
And how do men benefit from 21 Convention, as you can see, as a new speaker?
Yeah, what's really cool is there's just a whole diverse set of opinions. Like I have my whole set of views on dating, but there's a lot of different guys from different walks of life, fitness guys, psychologists. Everybody brings something different to the table. And what I really like is there's not any kind of bias or judgment. It's just an open platform. And Anthony says that best himself. He says, I'm just giving guys a platform to get out their message. We're not saying he's right and this guy's wrong, or this guy's message is more important, or this or that. It's kind of, everybody's kind of on an equal playing field. And then it's up to the viewer to listen to what people have to say and see how it jives with their own personal philosophies and what makes sense and what they can garnish from that. So I like that it's a diverse set of kind of opinions rather than a biased narrative, because I think there's too much of like this single narrative, like with the news, with people are just exposed to like, here's the message, here's how things are. So when you have an open platform event like this, it's great for everybody to network as well, but you're getting a lot of diverse messages out into the the ethos there, and it's really putting out a lot of opinions that might not have been popular but have good arguments behind them, and then these videos become very popular, and then so it's a great way to get your message out without having to play the political game and this and that.
Okay. But now, as a speaker and a first time here, what did you get from 21 yourself?
I made a lot of great networking connections. There's a lot of guys where I've watched their videos, or a lot of people recognize me because they're followers of my channel. So I've made a lot of connections for guys that I'm going to collaborate with. Jesse Peterson, turns out he actually reached out to do a collab a few months ago, and we never ended up working it out, but we're going to do collabs there. A bunch of the guys here, they want to do future collabs. So it goes far beyond just the 4 or 5 days here at the event. This is going to spread on. Now we have a bunch of new relationships. People are kind of attacking problems head on. Some people are attacking problems in the church. Some people are attacking problems with feminism and this and that. So we're tackling real issues that are important that people need to be thinking about and having an open discussion about. And there really isn't any other platform that gives guys that opportunity. If you do a one-off YouTube video or whatever, it's going to just get buried in all the rest of the content. Whereas these speeches kind of stand out on their own to kind of shed light onto various important issues. So I've appreciated the networking aspect and just hearing a bunch of diverse viewpoints on different real issues that are important and how we can go about solving them.
Okay. Excellent. One thing I want you to do is I want you to talk to the man out there that is having an issue, say, meeting a woman,
Yep.
whether or not he comes to you and he needs help, but
Yep.
talk to that man out there right now and give him some advice.
Yeah, so it's very rare that I don't get a guy very good very fast. We get a lot of guys that are on multi-year dry spells or that are virgins or that they're just very separated from the dating game because they're in a marriage or a long-term relationship for a long time, and they're back on the dating scene. And a lot of guys think that it's like some kind of mountain they have to climb, and it's going to be months or years of kind of grueling effort and this slow progression. And it's actually quite the contrary. It's actually the case that, just giving a very high overview of what we do, is we'll get a guy pro pictures for his online game, and then I'll help him build his profile. Now he's getting lots of matches. He plugs into my online scripts, gets phone numbers, plugs into the texting scripts, gets dates, and girls coming straight to the house. And very quickly he's starting to get closes. So most virgins on my programs are losing their virginity in the first week, or sometimes the second week. But it happens very quick. So I think the big message is you don't need months or years of practice. You don't need to watch thousands of hours of content. Once you're plugged into the proper system, it's going to leverage, like those texting sequences, those are based off over 14,000 phone numbers in my phone. And I've put in the relentless kind of scientific optimization and split testing and all this stuff and measuring quantitative data. So when I take any guy of any skill level, when he plugs in those sequences, he's texting on my level out of the gate, right? So it's really, the guy starts off with the system and he just ends up with his schedule packed out with dates by the second week. And I think that's a really big phenomenon. I don't really see anyone else doing that. And I think that really proves that, you don't have to be a model, you don't have to be model looking, you don't need to have natural confidence and charisma and all these other things. You simply need to believe that you're good enough and that you're worthy of these women, and you're not going to start right off with 9s and 10s and model looking girls. But for most average guys out there, unless it's it's very rare that we run into these extreme cases. But I've even gotten guys in wheelchairs late. There's a guy, I have a video, there's a guy in a wheelchair in London. It was cerebral palsy that took girls home 2 out of the 3 nights on my 3-day program. And I didn't even expect that myself. It goes to show when you're executing the proper moves, the results, it's hard for them not to come in. Like I tell guys, like, you're going to get lots of matches, there's no way around it. When you plug in the scripts, lots of phone numbers, no way around it. Lots of dates, no way around it. So for those of you watching, if you're ready to finally go on the other side and have the problem of not having enough time to see all the girls, and more of the quality type problems, going to the other side and having your option and choice with a bunch of high quality women, it's just a matter of a few short days away or a week away once you're plugged into the proper system.
Excellent. How can everybody find you?
So my YouTube channel is John Anthony Lifestyle. My website is johnanthonylifestyle.com, and my 8-week program is platinumdatingsystem.com. So on the platinumdatingsystem.com site, you can sign up for a free 30-minute call. We basically go over all your goals in the game, all your weaknesses, your current level, and then we walk through kind of how the 8 weeks would be structured so that you plug into the entire content system, and we have 4 calls per week to kind of blast through every weakness as quick as possible. And on that free 30-minute call, you can ask questions and see exactly our solution for how we would get you very good very fast. And we've done this with thousands of guys, so we don't really run into cases very often where we can't get the guy very good very fast. Most guys are getting to a pretty advanced level by halfway through the program after about a month. So for those of you guys watching, if you want to get very advanced as quickly as, you know, just a week or two out, sign up for a free 30-minute call on platinumdatingsystem.com, and also check out my free content on the John Anthony Lifestyle YouTube.
There you have it. John Anthony, welcome
pleasure.
to 21.
Thank you so
for
much.
Sure. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
And thank you for joining me on the 21 Report.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Take care.